Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the world's biggest stars and some of my favourite people. And we've got one for you today. Lyndsay Hailey is the master of comedy who's performed, written and directed comedy and toured the world with her masterclasses. She's currently in Las Vegas starring in the show of 2017. Magic Mike Live is performing at Hard Rock Nightly and wowing audiences with this Channing Tatum show for the ladies. Let's find out more from Lyndsay Hailey. How are you?
I'm doing so great, Alex. Thank you for having me.
Do you know, it's amazing to talk to you, and I'll tell you why. I was in Vegas in May, and I kept seeing these posters after taxi backs, after billboards about Magic Mike, and I thought, is this the latest magician to come on the strip to make people disappear? I didn't get to see it, so what kind of magician is Mike?
Well, it's a male spirit magician that does make men's clothes disappear.
This is a phenomenon, isn't it? I mean, these films just went around the globe and captured the imagination. In one way, you could argue it's sort of childish that women want to see guys with their clothes off, because let's face it, we are repulsive. On the other hand, this is mega business that, I mean, Vegas is really sold out, let's face it, but this show is doing huge business. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's honestly such a thrill and an adventure to be a part of it in any way. So I'm so honored, yeah.
And you're the MC. Let's talk about what you do, because let's face it, the ladies going to this show aren't necessarily wanting a lady to interrupt their men who are getting naked. How do you not piss them off on a nightly basis?
Thank you for asking that question. I love this question. Oh, Alex, you cut right to my soul. That was great. I feel like it took years and years of comedic study to be able to fully embrace that I wasn't necessarily going to be accepted from the onset, and how to become an every woman. I don't know how else to say it, but Channing's idea for this show was that they experience it through me, you know, that they not see me as any sort of interruption from what's going on in the show, but as an excuse to sort of let loose even further, if that makes sense. So like using me sort of as this projection of themselves to sort of live out their fantasies. So I'm in it right there with them.
And you are delicious, let's be clear.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Yes, you are. And as for the men in this show, I mean, they must be trying to get your number nightly. It must be the best gig in the world.
Oh, man, I love this. I'm having a blast right now. You know, let's say, I feel like I've been using this old adage to keep myself sane for years, but perhaps they're intimidated by me.
Yes, that's my thing. I think that the women don't come on to me because they're intimidated by me. The fact that I've got a face like the back of a dachshund is neither here nor there.
Too much. I love this.
No, I am a deeply unattractive man. They'd never get me in this show. Let's face it. Let's talk about the statistics. How many men are there in this show that get topless by the end of it?
Okay, topless, I can guarantee you all of the men in the show are topless by the end of it. And so you will definitely see their breasts.
Do we get to see man sausage?
You don't get to see man sausage without giving too much of it away, but you get... Let me say, there's one move in the show that I like to call the hat trick. So you see the hat, if that makes sense, and everything else still. So basically, what we can get away with in Vegas as not necessarily being a full-on strip show, but more of a dance review, we take it absolutely to that line.
I don't know whether you've heard the rumours, Lyndsay, but I have a very, very small man sausage. In fact, it reminds you to get some button mushrooms for the omelette if you saw mine. So I could technically be in this because it wouldn't matter either way, would it?
Either way, you would be absolutely protected. Yeah, you could cover yourself up. You'd be fine.
How do you make a show sexy for 2017? Because I think what Channing did, and yourself in writing this, was made sexy cool again. Because I've seen most of the shows and the reviews in Vegas.
Yes.
It's a tricky balance, that, isn't it?
It honestly is. I think again, the choreographer's in tow with Channing. I mean, he has this amazing team that he works with on the regular that he calls ATL. And pulling in a comedy writer, you know, like he again, everything was to the utmost professional level as far as like the dance itself is incredible.
Yeah.
The men are obviously gorgeous. The choreography is the most top notch in the world. And then I'd like to think the comedy writing is right up there as well, you know? So
Yeah.
you've got all of these levels, all of these bases covered. And it, obviously, I think the main component that is different from the other, like the other reviews, the other male reviews, which again, we love and champion all of them, but that it really is female forward. It is about the feminine fantasy and really encapsulating that. So like every number is sort of catered to what women actually want. And so I think when you were speaking earlier about the Magic Mike movement, that's why I think it has such traction right now, is because these women, you know, are just ready.
Let me describe myself. I'm ginger, I've got back fat, man tits, bingo wings, and I'm hung like a wasp. But do you think there's any demand in fantasy for me to bring my own show to Las Vegas?
Honestly, that's the show I would be at in a heartbeat. Someone in their authentic skin just owning every ounce of it. I'd be there every night. I'd quit my job.
Let me talk about you, because you're extraordinary. I mean, not only are you amazing at what you do, but you've sort of turned it into a science. And when Channing put this show together, he literally could choose anyone, and he chose you. A, that's the most amazing compliment in the world. But B, you've become really good friends, haven't you? It's a remarkable synergy between sort of the live Magic Mike show and the comedy that's within it.
Honestly, when the audition role, like, or the notice came through, and I say this with all the humility in the world, but when I got the posting, I knew that I was going to get the job. I'd never seen a breakdown that encapsulated all four different dimensions of what I would have called my very scattershot life before that. And basically it was calling for all four of these branches of Lyndsay Hailey that in my world had never really even made sense why I was, you know, practiced in certain aspects of sexual spirituality, an improv comedian by trade, a stand-up, a comedy writer, and it was asking for all of them in one job. And, you know, they say, like, there's a part you're born to play, and I really felt it.
I guess you've got to have an incredible confidence, and I do think women have a tougher job in comedy than men. I think when you walk out, I think you have to try harder. However, as Joan Rivers, as Kathy Griffin, as Lisa Lampanelli and yourself prove, I mean, when you can do it, you can do it. And you have got to have confidence, especially in a show with a crowd that are literally off their faces with excitement, because the energy in that room is insane, isn't it?
It's wild. They measured the decibel level of it during the opening week when Channing was there the whole time. And they said that if you stand behind a jet engine, the decibels reach about 120.
Right.
And that the shrill of the ladies' screams in our first week reached 118.
Wow. What is it about this Channing Tatum? I mean, I get that the ladies think he's a nice bit of trouser, but what's he got that I haven't? Be honest, Lyndsay.
Okay, I'm going to be so honest. Well, you said it earlier. I guess he has a sizable penis. I don't know that for a fact. But
So you're saying, for a start, tiny penis doesn't make many friends. That's what you're telling me already. Okay. Yes. Next.
You know,
What's...
I've dated so many men where, you know, I am an equal opportunity lender. I will tell you that.
I always say, what I lack in girth, I make up for in personality. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, and that's what I mean. The compensation has to happen somewhere, and you are killer funny, my man. You know?
Slightly depressing, but nevertheless.
I believe that you and Channing have a lot of similarities, is what I'll say, and that Channing, I think what he's got going for him that the women are going gaga about is genuinely like this reverence of the divine feminine, if I can be so brazen to put that out there, and this willingness to sort of outwardly champion women. I mean, he filled this show not only with me as writing it, but with all female. I mean, 2 female choreographers and 1 male choreographer. There's a lady who is in charge of the sort of like retail aspect of everything. I mean, like he's surrounded himself by women, I think, for this female movement, and in a very smart way has, allowed them to take charge because he's aware of the female movement, and instead of micromanaging that, I mean, he's genuinely letting these people flourish. And so I think that I think that women can sense that, like on a sexual level too. I mean, it's talk about star power or whatever it is. I mean, like that is a magnetic quality when a man is really seeing you in your full power and kind of letting you loose. And I think that that's why the world is bananas for Channing Tatum.
I saw a clip on Ellen DeGeneres of The Boys when this show launched, and I have to say, I have never seen choreography like it in this type of show. It is up there with Cirque du Soleil. It's up there with a Michael Jackson concert. These guys are not only physically beautiful and athletes, but they're stunning dancers, aren't they?
They're stunning, and a lot of them have worked for like Madonna, Mariah, all of them. So they pulled them from all over the world. And I honestly, and on top of it, there's, I mean, stunning dancers and really incredible men. And Channing went to great lengths to sort of bring them into this sort of environment and make them fully aware of what he believes he thinks they're doing on behalf of women inside the show. So there was a lot of sort of like sensitivity training, if you will, like leading up to it, and just, or pep talks from dad, if you will, you know,
yeah.
about like, yes, you're dancing on these women, and yes, there's going to be opportunities beyond your wildest dreams, fellas, but at the same time, like, really see these ladies, you know, and I just felt honored. I feel so honored to be around a cast of men with that awareness. Not to say that they're not all over the place, because I believe that they are, but these guys are truly exceptional. Yeah.
And if you pardon the phrase, shows come and go in Vegas regularly. I think 30 came and went last year alone. I mean, to be number one right now in terms of attention and the dream ticket must be thrilling for you to know that people are queuing around the block and often can't even get in. That's so rare. It's
really cool. And again, not being a part of the Vegas culture, so I'm still a bit in culture shock, having moved here for the position.
What is that position? Missionary? What is it?
Yeah, usually on top, I would say. I mean, like I am the MC. You know?
It wasn't funny, but it was quick, wasn't it?
It was quick. Yeah. It was still funny too, Alex. We got to give you more credit.
Oh, there you go. It's beautiful, though, isn't it? To be in the top show is always a thrill.
Oh, it's a first time for me. I can honestly say that. So I think the great balance, right, is trying to just enjoy the ride while it's here. And my heart's so big, it's so expanded right now, because I just feel incredibly appreciative of this opportunity. So
every gig you have to go in differently and work the crowd. How do you handle a Magic Mike crowd? You've got to come out all guns blazing, I presume, to even get over the roar of them. How do you even get their attention?
Wow. So without giving too much of the show away, we did create a device in the writing at the top of the show that, similar to in a screenplay, when you have that sort of save the cat moment so that you can kind of follow the hero's journey. I feel like we were very aware of this idea that, again, the last thing that ladies are coming there to see is me, you know? And then when they get me, it's a baloney pill that they have to swallow.
Right.
And so knowing that going in, I think we were all very aware that we wanted it to be a lady at the helm, but what kind of device could we create in the show to really get everybody on my side, you know, and on their own side, really championing women as a whole. So we did do something kind of fun at the top of the show that I'll kind of leave up to the minds of everybody, or the imagination of everybody right now. But we did create a device to sort of help pad that, and then there is a moment like you described where it just sort of drops into like full throttle I'd say about 10 minutes in.
I've interviewed many of these guys in the past, these incredibly fit fellas who go around taking their clothes off. And honestly, it's a miserable life, isn't it? I mean, the discipline these guys have got, they can't eat this at this time. They've got to go to the gym at that time. They wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to have a boiled egg. I mean, quite honestly, I just like eating chocolate. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I do. I do know. I mean, again, in the way that we work on like trying to just play on the internet daily or whatever it is, they are working on their bodies, you know? So it's been really fun to sit side saddle to that too, and also a little bit like, you know, brings in quite a bit of self-awareness.
Right.
Like I am on my computer sort of writing jokes or doing comedy writing truly to the same degree that they are working on their bodies or dancing. So I think some of them maybe are taking some cues from me and balancing out in that way, and I'm certainly getting to the gym a little bit more, truly. And it's also kind of new to me, too, because I've been Tomboy Jones for most of my life and running around in the back of a comedy van with a bunch of guys, you know, and I didn't really need to, and I mean, like, lovingly, but comedy guys, you know? So,
yeah, they're not renowned for being the most healthy and beautiful, are they? Let's face it. Yeah. Farting in McDonald's is mostly their favorite, isn't it, really?
It's truly. Or just whiskey.
Yeah.
So this is such a new and interesting platform for me also. And, like, same as you, genuinely, like, the vanity aspect is peculiar to me because I've been a lady comic and largely, you know, in a way I hate to say this, but we kind of undo ourselves on purpose so that, you know, there's different aspects where you try to play yourself down or play yourself up depending on the character or the role you're playing. So this one it's interesting because it calls me to be just confident in that power place, kind of in my full beauty, if I will allow it, and trying to be funny at the same time, which the hardest part, I feel, is probably just the judgment on myself that comes with that and, like, stepping into that willingly. So it's been fascinating.
What's interesting about your life, you've done these improv workshops, and improv fascinates me because I guess doing live TV or radio, that's improv because you have to think on your feet. But doing it on a stage in a comedy club is taking it to another level. And you've done this around the world. What is the art of being confident enough to trust your brain to do it? Because that's the skill, really, isn't it?
It is. I say over time, my first impression of improv was, yes, this reliance on the brain and the mental body. And then as I believe you get deeper into the study, probably with acting, music, comedy, anything, it's like the study of presence. And so over time, if you're willing to just sort of jump off that bridge with your parachute, you know, and hope that it opens, it's this feeling of, I'm going to get so lost in this present moment experience with someone else. I'm going to connect to this person in front of me so deeply that I've lost the awareness of an audience or anything else. So, like, I'm not aware or perceiving that judgment from the outside. And for me personally, that's when things are hysterical, you know, because you've lost that censorship. You've lost everything else. You're not worried about playing to the people in the room. And I guess if Lyndsay Nicole Hailey has a skill, it's the ability to, like, completely escape.
Yeah.
And being willing to do that in front of a group of people, I guess. You know?
And is there room in this show to use that skill, or is it mostly scripted and you have to stick to it?
It's mostly scripted, but they were very generous and kind because they do know my background, and so obviously every audience is different. So I would say there's about 20% room for me to play around each night where, you know, if something crazy, kooky happens in the audience, I can definitely address it, you know. So.
Here's the thing that I've always felt about comedy is that an audience that's merry is going to be the best audience ever. An audience drunk is going to be a nightmare. How does that work on a late show on a Friday night at Hard Rock in Vegas? Because that's tough, isn't it? They've come to get drunk, they've got drunk, and now you're trying to talk to them, and that's not what they were expecting.
So right. In Vegas, again, I feel like it is honing my chops, you know, because, like, Chicago is one sort of area to play in, which is sort of where most of my performance time was before this gig, and some in Los Angeles. But this Vegas energy, you know, because people are coming there to escape again, you know, and they're coming there drunk. They're also coming there ready to see these guys. Just the magnitude, I guess, of the willingness of women to open to, like, all the possibilities. It's really interesting because you would think it would be so intense, but they're almost just perfectly primed to go on this adventure. And I have found that I would say I've done about 160 of these shows now.
Wow.
And I would say there's only been about 4 where I kind of got off stage and was like, yo, what was that?
Because it can be a little bit like a truck's driving towards you at 60 miles an hour, can't it, if it goes wrong?
Yeah, and when it goes wrong, you know, we have had some ladies, like, I'll just say this lovingly, but there's a pool party that happens at the Hard Rock during the day on Sundays, you know, so sometimes people are coming post-day drinking in the summer heat. So we've had some ladies without their tops on, not on purpose, just not knowing that their tops were off. We've had some ladies try to get on stage with me. So,
Wow.
but it's all because I'm an improviser. And you know this too, like on the inside, I'm dying laughing at everything. So
Yes.
I feel like because I have that trait inside me,
Yes.
I'm loving the wreckage, you know?
Yeah. It's a bit like having a 4-year-old, isn't it? Where you want to laugh when he says something inappropriate, but you can't because the mother's going to tell you off. Yeah.
Oh man, I get in trouble every time I go home with my sister because like I'm laughing at everything they do, and she's like, "You can't do that," and that's how I feel most of the time. So there's only been a couple nights, you know, where it's been like, you know, because sometimes ladies are like, "Get off the stage."
Wow.
No, I call it a destination show, you know, because again, like these other shows have amazing appeal and amazing like international recognition, but this show, it's like if you want to see this show, you have to come to Las Vegas. There's nowhere else to go see it right now,
Yeah.
and because of the brand awareness from the movies and this sort of feminist, beautiful women's empowerment movement, like these ladies are coming here from all over the world, like. Just to come see this show. I mean, they supplement it with the Vegas weekend, which I think is like the opposite of what I hear of most shows, and I feel really, again, blessed about that. Like, normally you hear, we're going to Vegas for the weekend, and we're going to catch a few shows. The audience, by and large, is, when I hear from them, are saying, we came here to see this show, and now we're going to do some other things in Vegas, you know? So it's really cool.
Did I tell you, by the way, my sister Veronica, she's bi and large, but that's another story. We should move on from that. And you keep saying that they come to the show. Do you think that these ladies generally will come again?
Yes, but that's also been fascinating. They've been contemplating, this is a deep cut right now, I'm not sure if it's going to happen, but they've been contemplating getting sort of like a season's pass.
Yes. Well, I suppose you could have an advert, couldn't you? Come again, come again, come again and again. I suppose you could keep coming all night long, I suppose.
Keep coming, just keep coming. That,
we should do the marketing for this, shouldn't we, really?
I tried to tell them, Alex. Just let me handle it all. I got you.
I believe you could. And we look at your life moving forward in Las Vegas. It's a very strange artifice that basically is sand, let's face it. The place shouldn't be there. It's inhumanely hot. How are you finding it living there?
Oh, Alex, because I am so into just being honest these days, Vegas is weird, man.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it?
The weirdest, hottest place. I'm thankful again that I've got like a cool apartment complex and some friends living near me because I basically liken it. I feel like I'm working on a cruise ship for a year.
Yeah.
You know, it's just this sort of insular, interesting community. But yes, it's hot. I will say though, I'm from the East Coast of the United States, and so far, I find the dry heat more pleasurable than the humid heat. So I'm not as upset about the hot as some people because I was raised in a pretty hot climate. But you walk outside and you genuinely, that's what my understudy says this. She goes, Vegas hot is like, it's like you're being cooked. In other places you get kind of sweaty, but this just feels like you're being baked when you walk outside, like you're frying.
Thank you so much for talking to me. I'm going to be in town in October. I would love to come and see you because you've had such an amazing career and achieved so much. I wish you all the best with this show. The MC of Magic Mike Live, which is at the Hard Rock in Las Vegas, continues, starring the wonderful Lyndsay Hailey and, of course, the man who put it together, Channing Tatum, who does pop up from time to time, doesn't he? He does make these odd appearances.
He makes odd appearances. Yes, again, the first month he was basically there the entire time, and then we're looking forward to him. We don't know when he's going to be back. I know he's like shooting a film right now, but we know he's coming to pop back in, so that's going to be really exciting.
Well, I'd be very happy to pop up for you anytime in Magic Mike in Las Vegas, and we wish you all the best. Thank you so much for your time. Lyndsay Hailey is the big star of Magic Mike. Go and see it. Ignore those fellas whipping their clothes off. They're nothing special. She's the lady to go for. Lyndsay, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Alex. Pop up anytime, please.